This is DX Central Live. This is DX Central Live. This is DX Central Live.
Welcome to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs, so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. Welcome to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs, so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. Welcome to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. Welcome to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. Welcome to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. Welcome to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving...
This is DX Central Live.
In the night, so dark and quiet, frequencies hum low like a riot, tuning in with all my might, searching for a voice in flight. Cajun air, it holds the sound, radio waves from town to town. Static crackles, mix and turn, waiting for that name to learn. Signal fades, The name's unknown, trying to catch it all alone. Mystery calls the night, my friend, searching till the very end. Moonlight dances on the dial, rumbling with that Delta style. Notes float softly in the wind. Still I wait for news to send. Signal fades, the name's unknown, trying to catch it all alone. Mystery calls the night, my friend, searching till the very end. Bayou whispers keep me still, craving for that lingering thrill. Misted voices lost in haze, echoes in this southern maze.
This is DX Central Live.
He's got his antenna way up in the air, dreams of Latin music out there somewhere. Cards in his hand, maps on the wall, late nights waiting, but he gets no call. All those radio waves, they play with his mind, searching for signals, but they're so hard to find. From Puerto Rico to faraway land, tune in the static, still no guitar in hand. He's there in the darkness, waiting for a sign, humming to the silence with a hopeful line. But the airwaves are quiet, nothing comes through. Just another night, feeling deja vu. Oh, those radio waves, they tease and they taunt with promises of rhythms, but give him just one. From Puerto Rico, he's searching afar, dreams of a broadcast beneath the bright star. And in his small room, by the glow of the moon, he waits for a melody, morning or noon. Signals may fail, but his hope never fades. Seeking the music, his spirit demands. Another dawn breaks, he's still at the dial. With every sunrise, he promises a smile. From Puerto Rico to faraway land, tune in the static, still no guitar in hand. He's there in the darkness, waiting for a sign, feeling deja vu. Oh, those radio waves, they tease and they taunt with promises of rhythms, with a hopeful line. But the airwaves are quiet, nothing comes through. Just another night, feeling deja vu. And in his small room, by the glow of a moon, he waits for a melody morning anew. Signals may fail, but his hope never fades. Seeking the music his spirit demands. The dial with every sunrise, he promises a smile. Someday the frequencies will carry his tune. Till then, he dances to the rhythmless blue.
This is DX Central Live.
My baby says no way, so I'm stuck in this chair. I dream of signals far from north to east to west, but I can't put up no antenna. She says it's for the best. Dreaming of DX, signals I can't hear. My baby won't let me, so I'm sitting here in tears. That static calls my name, whispering in my mind. But without that big old tower, the signals I can't find. I see the towers rise in a distant starry sky, but here I'm bound and tied, can't even say goodbye. Dreaming of DX, signals I can't hear. My baby won't let me, so I'm sitting here in tears. Dreaming of DX, signals I can't hear. My baby won't let me, so I'm sitting here in tears.
DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
For more than 90 years, the National Radio Club has been at the forefront of providing DXers with the latest in station news, DX-related technical information, and reception reports from DXers around the world. The NRC's AM radio log, now in its 45th edition, is the most expansive and detailed resource of station information for US and Canadian radio stations that is available in any format. The club's publication, the DX News, is available in both print and electronic format and provides the latest information on call letter and format changes, construction permits, and other information to help keep DXers informed of the latest updates they may hear on the air. For more information, visit their website at nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org. With a lifetime membership, the International Radio Club of America gives DXers incredible value by putting important station information right at your fingertips. The club's e-publication, the DX Monitor, includes DXer loggings, station information updates, international loggings, and more. Other club publications include the IRCA Mexican Log, a must-have resource for any DXer that chases stations from Mexico. the TISHAR list, the IRCA slogan list, sunset sunrise maps, and DXer technical guides. The joint IRCA-NRC email reflector and groups.io group is a hub for real-time DX conditions, station news, and DX-related conversation. For more information, visit ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org. From long wave to satellites, medium wave through HF, ham radio to scanners. If you can DX it, the Spectrum Monitor has you covered. Editor and publisher Ken Reitz has assembled a who's who of radio writers to share their knowledge and expertise from a wide range of DX-related topics. Each month, the Spectrum Monitor's columnists dive into their specialties to give readers tips, tricks, the latest news and station updates, and more. The Spectrum Monitor also provides a monthly assortment of feature articles that give in-depth insight into the past, present, and future of DXing. You can get a full year of the Spectrum Monitor for only $24. Individual issues from the current year are available for $3 each. You can also purchase previous years of the Spectrum Monitor in their entirety for as low as $12. For more information, visit thespectrummonitor.com. That's thespectrummonitor.com.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
It's a Friday night, rolling in the North Shore, setting frequencies right. AM and FM, the airwaves collide. DX Central Live, where the signals can't hide. Tuning in the static, chasing down the sounds. Every single signal is magic we have found. All radios hum, the chatters all agree. DX Central Live is the place to be. Folks in the chat, shout out your call. From east to west, we're breaking down the walls. It's the magic of the night, where frequencies fly. Join us now on DX Central Live.
From the Gulf South
to your corner of the world.
This is DX Central Live.
Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
From the North Shore Studios here in beautiful, stormy Mandeville, Louisiana, we bring you DX Central Live Season 5, Episode 28. My friends, we are winding down to almost the end of our journey for this season. One episode after tonight, season finale, and then it's on to... I'm going to change. There it goes. On to the FM season, which we're already very much into, by the way, because we had an e-skip opening not just last night, but tonight too. We're going to talk a lot about that. In fact, we're going to be listening to a recording from tonight just to see if we caught anything. And we'll be doing that live here for our live DX for at least a little bit because we have some storms in the area. So I'll show you guys here in a moment when we pull up the radar and let you take a look at the radar because it's nasty. That radar is nasty. It's bad. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look at that right now. This is our radar. This is what we got coming. Fortunately, it looks like most of the nasty stuff is to my west and kind of southwest, so that's good. But that's still a lot of stuff that I don't want to deal with. So I've had a bad history in my days of lightning taking out gear. I back in 04, when I first got my general class ham radio license, I had a really bad lightning storm. I was living on top of a mountain, about 3,000 feet. We had a really nasty thunderstorm. I was sitting on my back porch. We had a direct hit a tree right next to my porch. That fried all of my gear. Even with lightning protection and everything else that I had, fried everything. I had not disconnected my antennas. Blew up the fuses. I found charred pieces of fuses laying around the floor in my basement where my radio was. Everything was, the power supply was gone, the antenna tuner was gone, the transceiver was gone. A couple of other radios that I had connected to it were gone, so I lost a lot of gear. It took me about 9 years to get back on the air again. So nowadays, when we have stuff like this coming, I just unplug. I'm not even going to deal with it. I just unplug it and go from there. Even with things like lightning arresters and stuff like that, I still unplug. So tonight we're going to be doing a little bit of some recording review from tonight's eSkip opening that we had here down into Mexico, and I was hoping for some other stuff as well. In fact, when for the second night in a row, I started this out on 6-meter ham radio, FT8 mode, and was doing that first, and was actually working Guatemala tonight on 6 meters. 2 stations in Guatemala. One was like a plus 13. If you're an FT8 person, you know plus 13 on FT8, it's a big signal. And so I was hopeful. I was like, man, if this keeps building up, it gets into FM, I might have a path down into Central America. And it kept building, and I got some stuff, but I don't know. I don't think I got anything other than maybe a path down into Mexico again, which was the same as we had last night, but it's still E's. So we're going to talk about the e-opening that we had last night, and we're going to look at some the recordings that we did tonight to see what came in. We're also going to talk about a couple of other FMDX-related topics tonight. We're going to talk about how to spot these openings. What's the process that you go through to spot when an eSkip opening is going to occur versus like a Tropo opening is going to occur? Lightning's been detected in my area, you don't say. So we're going to talk a bit about some of the process that I use to kind of keep an eye out for this stuff, some of the tools and resources that I use. So we'll look into that. We're also going to talk a bit about there's a forecast that we have in the Spectrum Monitor magazine in this month's issue, the May issue, that Joe Lynch N6CL did in the VHF and above column. And he talks a bit about summer HF and VHF propagation and what to expect. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and what he's seeing and what he kind of sees coming our way. He is saying that at least on like 6 and 10 meters, we could have like a generational type summer ahead of us. We'll see. What does that mean for FM? We'll see. I'm very interested to kind of see how this all pans out, obviously, but looking at his article, we're not going to read the whole thing because I want you to go get the magazine because he's one of our sponsors. But we are going to talk a bit about some of the things that he talks about in the article and kind of what that might mean for us. So, and we're also obviously going to get to your shout outs. What have you been hearing? FM, AM, weather, DX, ham radio. You tell us what you're working on, and we'll get you in here with a shout out, and we'll blow that horn of victory and have ourselves some good fun. We do want to start some DX, and like I said, I can't do anything live right now because literally every single antenna that I have is unplugged. The only things that are still plugged in are up in the attic, and I don't have those receivers up and running right now. And even if I could, the conditions would not be super great with all the lightning and stuff. So we are going to start off by looking at some FM. So let's go ahead and get that going here. This DX session brought to you by the Spectrum Monitor. Speaking of, thespectrummonitor.com. That's the website for more information about getting a subscription into the Spectrum Monitor magazine. And I need to change this. I just realized that. I haven't done this yet. Do it here with you guys with me here. Should we do it? Where's that Yagi? I want to get rid of that because we actually have a new antenna. I'll do it later. I'm not going to make you guys here and wait for me to figure that out because it's buried in here somewhere. my text here about the Yagi. We'll figure that out. We'll get that fixed. Anyway, what we do have here is we have right now nothing. You can see here nothing on the band because I have all the antennas unplugged. So what we're going to do here is we're going to stop the live and we're going to pull up tonight's recordings. I have not cracked these open yet. I just ran the recording while I thought there was some stuff going on, and now we're going to go in here and take a look and see what might have been caught. So we actually have this one here. 98.5 was the center frequency, 512. Yeah, that's the one. So we're going to hit play, and we're going to go down here. We're going to tool around with the low end of the band starting with and kind of work our way up and see if we caught anything here. Hopefully, it sounds like most of this was going to be Mexico, but we'll take a look and see. Let's go down here to 88.1. And I'm going to center this up, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. This also gives me an opportunity to do something I've been wanting to do for quite a bit, and that is to give you guys a chance to see my process for what I do when these recordings are being done. So during a live DX situation on FM, when there's a sporadic event especially, I think you guys know I log on FM lists, and I'm just hopping frequencies. I'm looking at my local frequencies that are open right here in the Mandeville area, and I'm logging anything that I hear. Then I'm going to my fringe ones, and I go kind of in a tier, and I'm looking to see how high is MUF looking, what kind of, is it overtaking anything local or strong, anything like that. So I'm just kind of going through all of that and kind of working my way down during the live, and I'm all of it's getting logged on the FM list. But I'm recording on my ELAD FDMS3, so I can go back and review it later. So this is that process. So during the opening, I will show you guys this. We had one station that I logged right here, and this was 88.1 Radio Lobo, and that was in Celaya, Mexico. Okay, hope I'm saying that right. Mexico Mikes, if you're on, keep me honest on this one. So we're gonna take a look here. And that was down here where that one was coming from. So good little signal here on 88.1. We did get an ID from them and also a RDSD code on our FMDX web server that I have up and running. So a couple of us were on the web server watching that one live. And so that's one that we caught was that 88.1. But let's see what's here. Let's go.
Experiences on college campuses, to email you and tell you about their campus crusade.
So here's the other thing that I do when I pull up a recording like this. I pull up this. This is the waterfall navigator. I'm just going to shrink it down a little bit so it's easier for you guys to see here. So what this is this is a version of the navigator. So if you look here, normally you're going to be looking at the grid, and that's little boxes for every minute. I'm choosing the waterfall, and I'll show you why I'm choosing the waterfall here, especially as we get in, if I show you some of the stuff from last night. Because I can take a look and I can zoom in here, and as I zoom in on my main waterfall, it zooms in on this waterfall, the little navigator version of it. And so I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. I like to look at a couple of frequencies at once. And you can scroll through this, and I usually try to adjust my contrast as well, so I have a little bit higher contrast. So any weaker signals where it might just kind of peak for a second, I'm getting a chance to see that. This is really, really useful for e-skip recording review. So I'm just going to scroll through here. Now, this is not a guarantee. What's this on 87.7?
Tenacious when she had
just noise, I would assume. No, it's not. That's not just noise. Yes, 87.7. We have something that is fantastic. Now here, a lot of you know that 87.7 is channel 6 TV audio. And so back in the day when I was a kid, I would sit there and listen to channel 6 TV audio from here in New Orleans, our channel 6, on my little desktop radio that I have next to my bed. Well, in Mexico, they actually have stations on 87.7. There's a couple of areas as well. I saw one in Vegas when I was there that has actual stations here. So let's go ahead and take a gander and see what's coming in here on 87.7. My dog's a little scared of all the thunder, so She's wanting some attention. We're looking for RDS. Quite a few of these have RDS, which would be nice. I'm not seeing anything up here in the BF spectrum that tells me I should be seeing RDS, though. So I don't know if I'm going to catch that. But we're going to turn that down so we don't get copyright slapped. But look at that. I mean, that's a perfect example. When I talk about how good this waterfall is for doing stuff like this, when we're kind of going through like an e-skip recording like this, you can have a whole stretch, and this works for a meteor scatter as well. You can have a whole stretch here where there's just nothing, and then all of a sudden you see a flare up there, and there is that station. That's that station showing up. Let me see if they popped up anywhere else in here. There's a little something here on 87.9, probably just some noise. I don't see anything else here. There's some 88.1 that was in and out a little bit. We're getting close here to the end. So if you have an opening that goes down into Mexico, don't forget about 87.7. There are possibly going to be stations there. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stations in Mexico that could be heard, and this is one of them. I'm sorry, not 6 stations in Mexico. I'm looking at the wrong screen here. Let me go back to that. Mexico 3. There are 3 in Mexico. One's in Guadalajara in the state of Jalisco, which actually probably would be close to what was going on here. The other 2 are in Sonora and are a bit far. You can set that, and there it goes. You can set your auto logger to scan 87.7 to 107.9. So it depends on how you set your auto log. Well, depending on what kind of auto log you're running. I'm not sure about SDR console. I know I can set that both in SDR Sharp. You can set it to scan down 87.7, and the TEF radios, you can set that band to go between 87.7 to 107.9. It's in the settings. So nothing identifiable here, unfortunately, that I could use to definitively say who this was. So, and that could be a TV station if there's anything analog still in Mexico. I don't think so. There's not much, I don't think. I know there's some in Cuba, especially down on Channel 2 and stuff, which I still can't believe I haven't gotten them here. Let's go up here now to 88.1 and see what we got here.
Mobilizing prayer,
and we're going to just skip around a bit.
When she cleared to her, like, first. In 1950, unanimous vote here, but it run a permit was amended and coordinators get to relationships that
now I'm kind of going kind of fast scrolling through here, but I did hear last night. I mean, there are times when that e-skip is coming in and it fades out, and it comes in and it fades out. So you could have, like, there's the local station like this one, KPAQ in Plaquemine. You could have that one fade in, and then they fade out, and there's the DX, and then they fade out, the DX fades out, and there's your local again. And it can be very much like swapping back and forth, and sometimes that can be indistinguishable on the waterfall. Not always, but sometimes it can be. Just depends on the strength of the station. Like this is talk, so a talk station is going to look different on the waterfall than if it's a music station that's kind of floating in and out. You'll see music would look more like this over here on the right, more filled in. So you would expect to see more modulation happening on a music station. So there you go.
I hear people calendar is people don't know because it's a law, and a lot of people don't know that. And calendar, I mean, together various people who have never met. The park, his church.
So what we're seeing now is we're starting to see some of that fading going on, a little attenuation. And I would expect this to be an opportunity where maybe what we see is that if that signal of that local station that you have there is attenuated enough, and then the signal of the DX station is strong enough, it can overtake your local. Because remember, FM is all about that it's gonna grab the strongest signal that it can, and it's gonna reject everything else. In the absence of a strong signal, it's gonna give you what you hear, which is static and maybe multiple stations. But in the presence of a dominant signal, it's gonna grab that one, and that's what you're gonna hear. So, let's go ahead and here we go.
Chedraui, llevarte más cuesta menos. 30% de bonificación y Chedraui en todos los desodorantes SPST. Ladies SPST y este voucher.
Then they could start one too. You could have one right there.
There we go. There's some stuff.
1,000 coordinators and participants.
All right. Sorry, dog. You're tangled up in my headphones here. Love you, but we can't have that. So there you go. There's some sound like some ads on a local Mexican station. I know. All right. Some ads there.
En Chedraui, llevarte más cuesta menos. 30% de bonificación y Chedraui en todos los desodorantes SPST. Ladies SPST.
Hey, Mamacita.
Then they could put
What defective
a microphone and you to listen.
So when you hear that fade out like that, that's a good spot to kind of circle around and do a little kind of maneuvering around that little fade spot, because that's an opportunity where maybe that's starting to fade out that local station and give you something to replace it with. So
let me talk to doctors.
There's the fade. And you see the fade happens, and then we hear the other station coming up. And look what also happens. The pattern that we see here on the waterfall changes. So now the pattern has changed. The waterfall signature is changing. That tells me there's a different signal here. So let's take a look.
Después de 31 años, la fuerza sigue más viva que nunca. 31 años de informar, cambiar y evolucionar. Así sucede. 31 años de entretener, debatir y formar opinión pública.
All about God and God glorified.
Indeed.
Then they fade out, and here comes the local again. Now here's the fade.
De Grupo Radar. Así sucede. 31 años de informarle con la fuerza de la verdad. Y vamos por más.
El martes 29 de abril participa en el primer simulacro.
Mexico Mike P. I think this is probably Radio Lobo there again. If this sounds familiar for you at all.
Cambiar y evolucionar. Así sucede. 31 años de entretener, debatir y formar opinión pública.
All about God and God glorified.
Indeed. Well, we've got a brief break. Alex McClellan here.
Y las redes
Another
sociales
fade.
de Grupo Radar. Así sucede. 31 años de informarle con la fuerza de la verdad. Y vamos por más.
The voice of truth.
El martes 29 de abril participa en el primer simulacro nacional 2025.
And Jesus came and spoke to them, saying, all authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. Go therefore and make disciples of all. I'm with you always. And that's a
Fade back up.
before others the Bible every day. Pray.
I see a little difference here.
Read the Bible. Consider the speak powerfully to our
Here's another one that looks like it might be
their faith through Christ.
But a real Trinity
something a little different, maybe not.
Higher fuel way to find. I love my put to view with these higher group. A very smart one. It's a great program and way to find debt.
At 1-800.
I need to pull my RDS Spy back up too.
I'm Claire, a Trinity counselor. Call me and become debt free.
So here's a nice little one here.
This is the Hamilton
So there's a pop station in there. Pop station coming back up again. And then we look here to see what's on the rest. We have one here, a little flare up. 24F0, there's our Radio Lobo. And you see Radio RDS Spy. RDS Spy is all over it. Console is not. I'm going to clear it. And we're going to come back over here and replay this little section here. There it goes. So now we got it. But RDS Spy has been on it. So this goes back to another thing that I talk a lot about. I never, ever, 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 ever limit my tools that I have in my disposal. So, yes, Console is a very good decoder of RDS. It's very, very good, but you just saw it. And this is the 4th time in 24 hours that I've seen RDS Spy get an RDS decode when Console didn't, or it took Console longer, right? Or I had to go back in and force it to kind of see it by clearing out the RDS and go back in, replay the section on a little stronger part. RDS Spy is right on it. I never limit myself on the tools that I have available. So my recommendation is, yes, RDS Console is a fantastic RDS decoder, and use it and get the check mark and everything like we have in our video that we did. But there's no reason for you to not use RDS Spy at the same time. It's going to only help you. It validates the RDS code that you receive. So if you're getting one like this, that 24F0, and you see 24F0 in RDS Spy, you know that's real, right? If you're only seeing it in one and not the other, right? But RDS Spy was on it first. RDS Spy was on it immediately. And I could look up the 24F0, and that's Radio Lobo that we had earlier, XHRE. So there you go. Yeah. Radio Lobo. Nice, nice, nice. And now it's going to come back up again. Watch how strong it gets here. Negative 94 dBm. 93 dBm. Yep. Close to 92. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to grab a screenshot of this one because I didn't have this one yet screenshotted for my collection here. So we're going to go ahead and save this screenshot here. Documents. I have a whole bunch of my screen grabs, and what I try to do on that is I try to upload those to OneDrive, and then I use the link to the OneDrive file, and I put that in my logbook so that I can, from my logbook, I can see my RDS captures that I've captured. It's awesome. 88.1 XHRE. That was at 1727, and they are what was it, 954 miles. So here I am on here just capturing this, and how I usually do this is I'll put like the frequency on the file name, 88.1, the call sign. For the Mexican stations, I also like to put the slogan as well. And then the city, state, country, date, time, and mileage. I like to mark all of my air checks that way and my RDS screen grabs. That way I don't have to go back and look it all up. It's all right there. So it's easy for me to tag it when I'm uploading stuff or tying it to my logbook or whatever I'm doing. Enough. All right. So there's that one. Confirmed. Radio Lobo. All right. Let's check out 88.5.
Hey, town.
88.3 is a local station, so I'm not even going to try to get to do that because that's just too much local here. Oh, we're at 11 after? Okay. Let's do this. Let's take a break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about this process. Like, how did I get to this? What did I do that prepared me so I could be recording and capture this sporadic e-opening that occurred tonight? What are the steps that I took to prepare myself to identify that an opening was happening? We'll look at this for eSkip. We'll look at this for Tropo, and we'll talk more about that here right after this. So don't go anywhere, my friends. More DX Central Live, including your shoutouts, are heading your way right after this.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
With a lifetime membership, the International Radio Club of America gives DXers incredible value by putting important station information right at your fingertips. The club's e-publication, the DX Monitor, includes DXer loggings, station information updates, international loggings, and more. Other club publications include the IRCA Mexican Log, a must-have resource for any DXer that chases stations from Mexico, the TIS HAR list, the IRCA slogan list, sunset sunrise maps, and DXer technical guides. The joint IRCA-NRC email reflector and groups.io group is a hub for real-time DX conditions, station news, and DX-related conversation. For more information, visit ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org. From long wave to satellites, medium wave through HF, ham radio to scanners. If you can DX it, the Spectrum Monitor has you covered. Editor and publisher Ken Reitz has assembled a who's who of radio writers to share their knowledge and expertise from a wide range of DX-related topics. Each month, the Spectrum Monitor's columnists dive into their specialties to give readers tips, tricks, the latest news and station updates, and more. The Spectrum Monitor also provides a monthly assortment of feature articles that give in-depth insight into the past, present, and future of DXing. You can get a full year of the Spectrum Monitor for only $24. Individual issues from the current year are available for $3 each. You can also purchase previous years of the Spectrum Monitor in their entirety for as low as $12. For more information, visit thespectrummonitor.com. That's thespectrummonitor.com. For more than 90 years, the National Radio Club has been at the forefront of providing DXers with the latest in station news, DX-related technical information, and reception reports from DXers around the world. The NRC's AM radio log, now in its 45th edition, is the most expansive and detailed resource of station information for U.S. and Canadian radio stations that is available in any format. The club's publication, the DX News, is available in both print and electronic format and provides the latest information on call letter and format changes, construction permits, and other information to help keep DXers informed of the latest updates they may hear on the air. For more information, visit their website at nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
Yo, two boxers in a park, arguing after dark, hard periodic in hand, talking bands across the land. But the Yaki got the mic, pulling stations late at night, dialing up the distant sound, arguing tech all around. Love versus versus Yagi. Which one's the key to hear the far-off frequency in the FMC? Makes his case wider, gaining more embrace, catching signals left and right. Any station
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
Lord versus Yagi, which one's the key to hear the far-off frequency in the FMC? Makes his case wider, gaining more embrace, catching.
It's DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios here in Mandeville, Louisiana, and it's a stormy Friday night here in Southeast Louisiana. I want to get to some of your shout outs here, and you can, if you have not yet submitted your shout outs, you can do so. You just go to dxchallenges.com/shoutout. Or just go to dxchallenges.com. You'll see the banner. You don't have to be registered to submit a shout out, but I think it's a good idea that you go ahead and register because we have our challenge going on right now, the alphabet challenge, A to Z, and then spelling out DX Central for both AM and for FM, separate. But we also have our Summer of DX challenge going to come back here next week, and you're definitely going to be wanting to be registered for that because we're going to expand it a little bit this year, make it even bigger than it was last year. I know Carl had an amazing year last year, just racking up AM DX using his portable. That was the whole goal last year, right? Was show people that summertime and AMDX do go together. They're not, it's not a dead band in the summertime. You get a lot of stuff in the summertime that you can't hear any other time of the year. So we're going to be opening that up again, but we're also expanding it this year, making it even better. So make sure you register at dxchallenges.com. But regardless, go ahead and submit your shout outs so that we can get your name in just like these folks. Hold up. This one.
Hear the call for every signal, big or small, from AM to FM, from C to C. We celebrate the ones who slag the IT. Shout out loud, let it be known, you're never DXing all alone. Through the static we found our way. Shout outs making waves today.
All right. Shout out to me. We are talking about you, what you heard, your stations, new logs, new states, new countries, new gear that you might have gotten, AM, FM, Weather DX, NDBs, shortwave, pirates, ham radio, DX some Wi-Fi signals. Let me know what you've been hearing here. dxchallenges.com/shoutout. We start with our good friend, Mr. Stewart in Michigan, Whiskey 8 Sierra Romeo Charlie up in Michigan. And Stewart says, added some new gear this past weekend. The Quoteson DX286. So blown away with the FM reception after comparing it to my Eton Elite Executive that I went ahead and bought a second one. Hey, yeah. I've been having fun with this radio during Thursday morning's Tropo opening. Here are my catches from the top floor. I'm telling you, the 286, the DX286, if you're looking for a portable, it depends on what you do. If you're an AM DXer or an FM DXer. If you're like a serious FM DXer, I got to tell you about the TES 6686 portable. Okay. But if you're not like hardcore about the FM side, because this will allow you to do a different antenna. That's why. I mean, plus the RDS on this thing is just ridiculous. But if you're looking for kind of an all-in-one for AM and FM, the 286 is by far and away just, it's the one right now to beat. Nobody can touch it right now other than this one. Now, this one's not super good at AM. I'm not impressed. Now, you may have different results, and that's cool. Hey, what did my dog just do? Quit messing around in there. That's not for you. He's in here digging around in my equipment cabinet. This is not super great at AM. Okay. But it's a phenomenal FM receiver. The 286 is good at both. Okay. So if you're wanting a kind of dual duty AM and FM receiver, he's still freaking out about the store. The DX286 is fantastic. So here are the catches that Stuart has on FM. New stations, 97.7 W249BT in Adrian, Michigan. That's about a 30-mile away translator for him. 98.9 The Bear, WBYR in Woodburn, Indiana. He has an ID attached, so we'll listen to that. Eagle 99.1 WFRO in Fremont, Ohio. Super Hits 99.3 WBET in Sturgis. Family Life Radio 99.7 WUGN in Midland, Michigan. Classic Hits 99.7 WKSD in Paulding, Ohio. Also has an ID attached on that one as well. WCKY Pemberville, Ohio 103.7. I think I got them one time a couple years ago. 107.7 WRKR in Portage, Michigan, and The Wolf WPFX in Lucky, Ohio 107.7. RDSD codes also received from B93.7. I'm telling you, it's B93.7 or 93.3. One of the two. It's on every one of them. B93.7 to BCT in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Defiance, Ohio. Mix 98.1 to WDFM. 98.3 Nash Icon to WMIM in Luna Pier, Michigan. Win 98.5 to NWN in Battle Creek, Michigan. 100.5 to WKXA in Findlay, Ohio. 106.9 Home FM to SAE in Spring Arbor, Michigan. And on 440, using his ICOM ID 51A, got one of those sitting back over here. Got a new repeater, W9 JCA 444.45 in Greenfield, Indiana, roughly about 200 miles away. And the first clear portable reception from W9 AVW and W9 TE, both in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So we do the gear because he got some new gear and he's over here having a good time with it. And we got to celebrate the fact that he's got some new gear. And so he opens up the box and he's like, wow, look at that DX286, man. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Just if you're wondering, this is the little doodad that it comes in, the 286. And I had to charge mine up. My battery's dead. But this is the 286 for those of you who are unfamiliar. And the interface is a little bit different than what you have on the TEF radio. And it doesn't do the auto logging and stuff like that, like the TEF. So if you're wanting to do like auto logging, that kind of stuff, the TEF's where you want to go because that's the only one that does it. This has the same chip in it. They both have the TEF 6686 chip, automotive chip. They both have the same one, but this one just has a different user interface and operating system inside than this guy does. This one you can update the firmware. This one you can't. This one's got Wi-Fi. Nope. Okay. So, AMDXers who also like FM and vice versa. Great radio. If you're wanting an all-in-one. Whoops. If you're just all about that FM life, that's the one. Or, if you're like me, you like both, and you want the best of both worlds, both of them. They're not expensive. This is like $100. This is like maybe a little bit less than that. So, they're not super expensive. Well done, Stuart. We're going to play your clips here in just a few moments. Actually, let's go ahead and do one of them here. This is the Tropo from WKSD that he caught. Play this.
From the Output Exchange Bank member FDIC Studios. Halden Van Wert.
There we go. And WBYR, also Tropo.
This is 98.9,
The Bear. And he got this nice repeater action going on over here as well.
You're listening to the W9 ATG repeater system.
There we go. The W9 ATG repeater. So well done, my friend. And we're going to get you that log saw here as well, because you got the logs, you got the gear, you got the new stuff in here. Jacob asks if I ever put my W6 LVP loop on here. No, I have not. I need to do that. That's a fair cop. I have put my has on here on the desktop model, not on this portable, on my desktop model. I put the CAS antenna on there and one of the super loops and tried those out. They don't like each other. It was overload city, man. It was bad, and the static and the noise, and just it was not a super good AM receiver. Like I knew the antenna was fine. It just wasn't doing a really good job at picking up, so I equate that to being the receiver itself. So it's a fair cop, though. I need to go plug this into my portable W6 LVP loop and try it out and see how it does, and I'll report back. But for now, yeah, on the AM. For this one, great on the 286. But that one I can't plug my CAS into, so whatever. All right, Stuart, well done, my friend. Jerry Hart in New York, you are next up here. And at 1000 UTC on the 18th, he got a couple of stations. He got WVMR 1370 in Frost Country. It's country station in Frost, West Virginia. KCW 1420 in Warrington, Virginia. And 1590 WHPY in Clayton, North Carolina. And then on the 21st, WHP in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So new logs for Jerry. Well done, my friend. Speaking of the TEF receiver, we go down to our friend David Pete up in Maine. David received a new TEF receiver, got it hooked up with rabbit ears this week, thanks to Les. Awesome. And the first morning received WUFT in Gainesville, Florida, presumably from Meteor Scatter. I agree. I think that was Meteor Scatter. I know it's a little bit on the long side for Meteor Scatter for you. What was it, like 1,200 miles? That's a little long, but this particular meteor shower we're in right now, the Lyrids, are known for bolides, the big fireball mothers that just leave long trails and long burns and things like that. So I would say if there's going to be a meteor shower that's going to do it, this is one of the ones that would do it. Didn't do much AMDX this week. Did get a new log on 840 WXEW Radio Victoria in Puerto Rico. Nice. Number 14 Puerto Rico for my man down here over here in Maine. Look at you, man. Yeah, Jacob, that's what I was thinking. It's probably a little hot. So I'm gonna try it out with the portable W6 LVP and see if it does a little bit better. See if that helps a little bit. And we're also going to give you a log thing here, David, as well for your meteor scatter log. This is his log of Puerto Rico here. Turn it down just a little bit so we don't blow your ears out of the water. I'd say that was pretty clear. That's a pretty clear ID there. Well done, my friend. We'll give you an extra for that one. We're going to do some more shout outs here in a bit. We've got some to get to here. We've got David Harden in Georgia, Barry Bankston, Carl, Neil, and Sean all on the list for our next round of shout outs. So you guys make sure you stick around so we can get you your horn of victory blown and that shout out virtual high five. Let's talk about eSkip. Let's talk about how to see when eSkip is going to happen. So we had 2 openings this week. It's early in the season. It's late April. Typically, I'll just give you a little preview. I don't see the FM eSkip season really kind of getting underway until the latter half of May. Okay? The first half of May, you'll get a little stuff like we're seeing right now, little pockets here and there kind of thing. But it really starts to kind of like ramp up. You start seeing more regular activity second half of May. Okay. So that being said, this is bonus. And as a matter of fact, what I got last night on eSkip, I mentioned it in a couple of write-ups. I had, now it's 14. It was 13. Now it's 14 stations logged last night on the eSkip opening that we had, which is close to a fifth of all of the logs I had last year. In fact, I'll do the math right now. Let's do it. 14 It's 18%. So almost a fifth of the logs I had all of last season. I got last night. That tells you anything. So a spectacular way to get started. Now, does early e-skip mean a good season? There's no really correlation. There's no correlation. There's nothing in the data that says if you start getting an E really early, you start seeing openings, you're gonna have a good season. Not really. It just means we got some E right now, and maybe these conditions will continue. Maybe they won't, but we'll see. But how did I know that e-skip was going to happen? How did I know that it was going on? Because I hit record on my recorder before my autologger ever tripped and got me an autolog. Before I knew that there was positively an e-skip opening happening. Same thing with tonight. Okay. So what did I see? What was going on? Well, let me show you guys. So we're going to start with this. Now, this is sometimes a controversial topic, and if you're in Mexico right now, you should be looking to your northeast to see if anything is happening towards Florida right now, and vice versa. If you're in Florida and or Georgia, you might be looking to your southwest towards Mexico right now. Just saying. This is kind of a controversial topic, but we're gonna talk about it here for this discussion. So this is the 6 meter PSK reporter map. Okay. It won't let me do that. I'll have to tiny URL this one here for you guys. It says the link is too long, too many characters. So we're gonna tiny URL this one for you guys. So here you go. That is the PSK reporter. This is specifically for 6 meters. And why do I look at this? Why do I care? Well, sporadic E starts in the upper end of the HF band. There is some debate about where exactly you start seeing E-skip conditions. I personally think 12 meters, maybe 17 meters, maybe a little bit influenced by sporadic E, but definitely 12. For sure 12. For sure 12 meters. 10 meters, for sure. And then as the MUF continues to go up, 6 meters, which is around 50 megahertz, okay? And that's what we're looking at here. This is a representation of people working each other or seeing each other on 6 meters. So why this is a controversial topic is there's two schools of thought. There are people who use this map to say, oh, there's an opening on 6 meters. Let me go get my FM radio and see if it's going to show up on FM. And then there's people who are saying, 6 meters is 6 meters. That doesn't have anything to do with FM. They're both right. They're both right. Just because I see something going on here on 6 meters doesn't mean that anything's happening on FM. These paths that you see between Florida and Mexico, Georgia and Mexico, there may be absolutely nothing going on right now on FM between those two. It may be completely isolated to just 6 meters. However, here's two things that I want you to think about. Number one, if I was just seeing like a couple of communications back and forth between Mexico and Georgia, let's say there was like 2 lines here, I'm not all that excited, okay? But that's a lot of paths. And the more you see going back and forth like that, that indicates a stronger opening. The more paths there are across that common center area indicates probably a bit of a stronger opening. Now, for me, if my antennas were plugged in right now, I'd be looking south, south, south. Because, damn, I'm looking down south and I'm seeing right across that center line. If it's not too close for me, I'd be looking down into Central America. Oh, I wish my antenna was plugged in right now. Oh, I wish it was plugged in. But the more paths you see, the stronger the opening. And the stronger the opening, the more likely it is to get into the FM band. So that's one thing this can do, is it can give you an indication. If it's just a couple things here and there, But if you're seeing a lot of activity along those paths, like we are here in this Texas, well, you're not even looking at the screen, are you? This Texas to Georgia here. This Texas to Florida that we're looking at right here. This tells me that's a pretty decent opening. Now, is it guaranteed that's going to rise up into the FM band? No, not at all. Is there a possibility it could? Yeah. And if it does, if this raises up into the FM band, this tells you what the path is going to be. Because you can't have FM E-skip unless you have E-skip going on 6 meters. It's very unlikely you're going to see anything on FM if 6 meters is dead. So if there's no path between me and Colorado on 6 meters, guess what? I'm not going to hear Colorado on FM. But in a situation like what you see on the screen right here, I have a shot at a direct due south path crossing that center line of this path. So if you look at this path right here between Florida and Mexico, if I draw a line from where I am in Mandeville straight across the center of that path, that would be where I'm looking to maybe have some E-skip for me, which puts me into Central America down to Guatemala, which is why I wish like crazy my FM antenna wasn't plugged in right now. So this gives you a preview what the path is going to be. And this is what I used the last 2 nights. Last night, I was up here looking on PSK Reporter because it's getting to be that time of the year, and I was hearing some rumors about 6 meters looking pretty hot right now. So I just pulled this map up, and I saw a whole bunch of stuff going down into Mexico, and I was like, I was seeing Texas to Mexico, or Texas to Florida, and I was seeing some stuff north of me down to Mexico, and I was like, wow, I may have a shot here. So I go up to 6 meters. If nothing else, I was looking to see if I could work some Mexican ham radio DX down to 6 meters, and I did. I worked a guy in Mexico. And I said, if this continues to build to FM, there's my path. I should go outside and turn my FM antenna to Mexico, which I did. And sure enough, I came back inside, and I said, I may want to just go ahead and take a look at this. So I went inside, I turned on my ELAD, pulled up SDR console, was down on 88.1, and I was hearing the porpoising, and I heard little snippets of music that sounded like Spanish music, and I hit record. Immediately hit record. Within a minute, my autologger nailed 94.9 in Cancun. Okay, so this is an early warning. Just like NOAA Weather Radio and 2 meter APRS can be an early warning for us for Tropo, this is an early warning. This tells you the strength of that opening, which can be a little hard to see sometimes in the summer when everything is open on 6 meters, but I digress. In a situation like this, where there's really just one opening, you get to see that path. And you get to know where it's going to be and how strong that opening is. And the more likely it is that you're going to see something cross into FM, you're going to see an opening like this where there's just a bunch of paths back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's what you're looking for. A huge concentration all across the same path, a bunch of parallel lines, and lines crossing those lines, right? Across a common center point. That's what you're looking for. And if you see that, if I was to come over here and if I saw a bunch of people up here working down into Guatemala to my north, if I saw some people over here working into Cuba, if I saw some people up here working down into Mexico, the more stuff you see crossing that center point, that common center point, the better this is. Okay? So, the PSK reporter for 6 meters, is it a guarantee? People do the same thing like DX maps, right? They look at DX maps. Is it a guarantee that you're going to see something on FM? Absolutely not. Does it help you get a heads up? Yeah. It can help you get your antenna pointed. It can help you know to listen and say, I might want to go check out FM right quick. And just go down to 88.1 down in the basement of the band on the bottom end and see what you hear. And if you start to hear some stuff coming in, you might have a shot. Like for me, when I heard Spanish music and I knew that if I was going to have an opening, it's going to be Mexico. If I hear Spanish music, guess what? Hit record immediately, because it is now traveled into the FM band. That's how this worked. Okay. So this is another tool in my toolbox. The other things that I use, so I don't do this in an isolated way. I don't just only rely on that. I'm also keeping an eye on this. This is the All Tuners map from Rabbit Ears. Okay. Who got something here? Baton Rouge. Oh, that's from last night. Never mind. I'm looking at this map, and what I'm looking for are the darker lines. The darker the line is, the better. Okay. If you see a black line, like last night, what I saw was Texas into Florida. This was our friend George K5TR and his setup down in the Florida. His autologger was seeing into Tampa and around the western Gulf Coast of Florida. So that's Texas to Florida, Texas to Florida, Texas to Florida. I'm looking and I'm working 6 meters into Mexico, and I hear a Spanish station. Guess what? those two lines cross each other, we've got ourselves some E-skip. So that's what I was looking for. I was like, okay, let me just check and see if I'm hearing the Spanish music. Could it be Tropo? Down here in the Gulf South, that's a possibility. It could be Tropo. We get Mexican Tropo from here. So I'm looking at like the Tropo forecast to see, well, no, I didn't really have a really strong forecast for the night. And when I saw him seeing over here and I'm seeing over here and I see those lines are crossing, I'm like, that's not Tropo. If that was Tropo, I would also, if he's seeing Florida, I should be seeing Florida too. Right? Or I should be seeing Texas over towards his way. Because I'm in that path if it's a Tropo duct. But I wasn't seeing that. I was seeing across that line. That's E-skip. That's how we know that's E-skip. So this is your early warning. This can help you validate. So if you're not available, like if you're not at home, this happens a lot in the summertime. You're out at the store, you're out at the beach, you're on vacation, you're doing something out and about, enjoying the nice, beautiful weather. Great, awesome. Do that. Download Chrome Remote Desktop. Do it now. Put it on your phone. Chrome Remote Desktop. You can remote, and you'll want to download this for your computer as well. You can remotely access your computer from your phone. So you can pull up this map. If you bookmark this map, put it on your phone. This map, bookmark it, put it on your phone, and look at these. And when you start to see your area, that if you see a prediction that maybe this is the path you're going to be seeing, and you look over here, you see that path validating on the all tuners, remote into your computer from your phone, hit record on your SDR software. I've done it so many times in the past. And it works really, really well. If you're at home, obviously just pull up your radio and check out and see what's going on. If you have an auto logger, we've got 2 here, about to add a 3rd one. You have an auto logger, check your map. Because that's what got me last night, is I was like, I hear this music, I hear something coming in, what's going on? And then all of a sudden I looked here, it's already gone now, but I looked down here and I had down here in Cancun on 94.9, I went, boom, there it is. That was right across that, straight across that line from Texas to Florida. And that's how I knew I had E-skip. And then I pulled up there and I started recording, and then there it was. It was all over the place. And my MUF went all the way up to 105.9. I was able to identify all the way up to 104.3. And got 14 new stations, 2 new Mexican states. And I also worked a guy on 6 meters, a new grid on 6 meters. Tonight, it was the exact same thing. It was the exact same process tonight. Tonight, it was, I'm looking at the map and I'm seeing a bunch of trans-equatorial stuff from here down into South America, down into like South America, across the equator, right? So I'm seeing a bunch of trans-equatorial stuff that we typically see this time of the year. But I was also seeing some stuff that was hitting down in here. And I was like, man, there's probably some stuff. So let me go look. Fired up my 6 meter rig, got my 6 meter beam spun around down this direction, and saw 2 stations in Guatemala instantly, and another guy in Mexico. And I was like, here we go. So now I know I had a path down in Guatemala. I worked both of those stations with ease because they were super loud. Worked the guy in Mexico, and then was sitting there, and I was like, I need to go check the FM side. I didn't see anything on the auto loggers, but I was like, I need to go check the FM. Turn on the SDR console, heard Spanish music on 88.1, hit record. And you heard what we had. So that is my process that I have gone through the last 2 nights to spot these E-skip openings. And especially in these situations where you're not expecting E-skip, if it's a little different in July, you go look into your radio. You have your radio up in the morning, and you know there's a good chance in the morning you're going to get something, in the afternoon you're going to get something, because you get that double dip, right? It's a little bit different in June or July. But in this time of the year, how do you know when there's an opening that's just out of nowhere? This is it. Keep an eye on this map right here, the PSK reporter. Keep an eye on this map, looking at all the rabbit ears auto logs. And you can also use FM list. Now, the one today, I was the first one to hit that E-skip opening today. So no one had logged anything yet when I hit my log on FM list today. So that would have sent out an email alert for people who had the E-alert. So that would have triggered that for other folks. But because I was already on it from the 6 meter standpoint, I was able to get in early on the FM side too. It didn't last long. It was in there maybe 10 minutes tops 10 minutes. Last night was about 45 minutes. So it can happen. All right. What you guys talking about over here in the chat? Anybody have any advice? Anybody have any similar stories? Yeah, Sean says I've seen plenty of times where I've had sporadic E on 10 meters, but not on 6 meters. Yeah. I've seen so many times where, 10 meters in the summertime gets sporadic E just about every day. Almost constant. Unless it's like a really dead day. Just about any time in the summertime during a normal sporadic E season, June and July, just about every day you can go up and find sporadic E going on 10 meters. It's pretty common. 6 meters, a little different. It is a lot of the days. It's quite a few. FM, a little more rare, right? A little more rare to get the FM sporadic E. So that's why we have to keep an eye out for this stuff, utilizing the tools that we have. Barry's talking about CB. Bayou Bengal, baby, right here. That's my handle. Bayou Bengal. Rick says his TEF 6686 is getting a good workout here this evening. Awesome. Barry's recording on FM right now, looking to his southwest. So there you go. Let's see. Yeah, talking about some hey Blazer Bob. Talking about some CB stuff. I used to be Superman 105 when I was a kid. That was my handle back when I was younger. But now I'm the Bayou Bengal. I had a whole little thing that I said. I forget what it was. Anywho, Tropo, it's pretty similar. I'm not looking at the sporadic E map here, or the 6 meter map though for Tropo, because remember Tropo starts high and works its way down. E-skip starts low and works its way up. So on Tropo, I'm looking at this map. This is the APRS map. We'll link this one in the chat as well. There you go. So this is where I would be looking for Tropo. So right now there's a little Tropo happening here on the East Coast between South Carolina and down into Florida. Right? A little bit of Tropo happening up here in New England, down into the Mid-Atlantic region. A little bit of Tropo happening. Now, just like with the 6 meter map, is there any guarantee this is getting an FM? No, there's not. It may not be making it all the way down to the FM band. It's at 2 meters. So if it's 144 megahertz, you might want to go check the weather band and looking at 162 megahertz, see if you're getting some Tropo on the weather band. But FM, you'll have to go check. At some point, this all comes down to, you can have all the resources in the world that you're looking online and everything else. It comes down to, you're going to have to turn your radio on and go look. Right? And that's what this allows you to at least do, is know, should I go turn my radio on and look? If you're on the East Coast right now, somewhere between South Carolina and Florida, yeah, you might want to go check. If you're up here between Boston and down into the DC-ish area, yeah, you might want to go check. John, if you're John in Delaware, if you're here right now, you may want to go check. Look for some Tropo. You might be getting something right now. It also helps if you're looking at the Tropo forecast, which reminds me, we just dropped a brand new video tonight here on our YouTube channel as part of our Getting Ready for the FMDX series that we are doing on Bill Hepburn's Tropo forecast. So you learn how to read it, how to use it, and some of the things and mechanics that go into Tropo. Interesting little tidbit I learned this week about sea surface temperatures and their impact on the Tropo season that we're having right now. So especially compared to last year. So the water here out in the Atlantic Ocean, the North Atlantic region, which includes the Gulf and down here in the Caribbean and everything else, all this here, the North Atlantic, how warm is the sea right now? And what impact is that having on Tropo for the coastal areas? We're going to talk about that here in a bit, in the next hour. So, because it's actually kind of interesting, I think. But I'm a nerd about this kind of stuff, so that might be the case. All right, let's do some more DX review. We're sitting here on our recording that we made tonight, our sporadic E-Open that we had here tonight. We looked on 88.1. We got Radio Lobo in Mexico. And we're just going to look here and see if we caught maybe anything else on any other frequency. I think there was some stuff on like 92.1 that was coming in, 92.5 that was coming in. So let's go take a look up there. I might also be checking some of the stuff in between there here in a bit, but I at least want to take a look at some of these other frequencies. Now, we're not doing AM/DX right now because all my antennas are unplugged because of a storm, but this DX session, AM or FM or otherwise, is brought to you by the National Radio Club, nationalradioclub.org. If you want more information about becoming a member of the National Radio Club, definitely make sure you do so. It's an awesome club. It's a really cool club. Been around since 1933. Why wouldn't you want to be part of something that's like over 100 years, almost? I'm not doing the math right on that, am I? Yeah, over 100 years old. Almost 100 years old. Damn, my math skills are not great right now. It's been a long week. Let's take a look at 92.1. We're going to restart this from the beginning of the file, and we're going to pull up our navigator here. And where's that navigator? Here it is. So we're going to zoom in just a little bit. And what we're going to do here is we're going to just scroll through here looking for peaks. Just like we were talking about earlier, we're going to look for some peaks here. And I'm looking for anywhere where I might be getting a little bit of a burst of signal that might tell me, hey, that's something you may want to go check out. So far, I haven't seen anything here on 92.1. And no, it doesn't look like it. So we started this recording at 1712 to 1736. So that's what, 20 minutes? And in that 20 minutes, nothing on 92.1. And 92.1 is one of our biggest open frequencies that we have here. So if it was going to have anything happen anywhere, I'd expect 92.1 to have something. If we go to 92.3, or 92.5 rather, not 92.3, because 92.3 is a local. Let's go to 92.5. And let's turn that down just a tad. And let's look at the waterfall here for 92.5. See if maybe there's something on 92.7. We're going to come back to that. There's some more on 92.7. We're going to definitely come back to that. Nope, nothing on 92.5. So my two biggest open frequencies didn't have anything, but 92.7 does. Why is that? Why would 92.1 and 92.5 not have anything, but 92.7 does? You gotta think about that one. There's a reason why. Think about it. We'll come back to that. Let's center up our waterfall here on 92.7 and hit play. Now, we do have a station up in Clinton, Louisiana, WBKL. It's a K-Love station. But that's not WBKL. That's not K-Love. And let me pull my RDS Spy back up again. Where is it? Here it is. Let me go back. Now, sometimes you can get an RDS decode if you kind of replay the same spot over and over and over. Doesn't look like it's going to happen here, though. So we're going to keep scrolling down. And look, here's another little burst. Now that's English. That's probably K-Love. Ah, but there is a little Mexico mixed in. That's what I was talking about earlier. You get that porpoising where the DX fades in, the DX fades out, the DX fades in, the DX fades out, right? Like there's that wave that kind of comes in where it's local, DX, local, DX. They just kind of swap back and forth. So just because you don't hear something when you first tune a frequency in, don't think that you're not getting anything, because you may be. I am going to fast forward a little bit here. That's K-Love. Here we go. I'm going to get all kinds of copyright slaps.
Política en razón de género. Si enfrentas este tipo de violencia, no estás solo. El Tribunal Electoral del Poder Judicial de la Federación creó la Defensoría Pública Electoral para mujeres. Aquí se brindan los servicios de orientación, asesoría y representación pública.
Now, this is probably Mexico. Because I was getting Mexico around this time. This is probably who this is. However, could it be Guatemala? Could it be Belize? Yeah, it could be.
Si enfrentas este tipo de violencia, no estás solo. El Tribunal Electoral del Poder Judicial de la Federación creó la Defensoría Pública Electoral para mujeres. Aquí se brindan los servicios de orientación, asesoría y representación pública.
Oh, there's that EAS alert. From Louisiana here from K-Love.
The National Weather Service in New Orleans has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for southern Tangipahoa Parish in southeastern Louisiana until 6.
That's the storm that was coming here that I had to unplug all my stuff for.
p.m. Central Daylight Time. At 5:26 p.m. Central Daylight Time, a severe thunderstorm was located near Independence, or 8 miles southeast of Amet, moving southeast at 15 miles per hour. Hazard, 70 miles per hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Source, radar indicated. Impact, hail damage to vehicles is expected.
Yeah, Mexico. Mike, yeah, let's go back up here. See if I can find it here for you. Here we go.
Política en razón de género. Si enfrentas este tipo de violencia, no estás solo. El Tribunal Electoral del Poder Judicial de la Federación creó la Defensoría Pública Electoral para mujeres. Aquí se brindan los servicios de orientación, asesoría y representación pública.
I'll do it again.
Política en razón de género. Si enfrentas este tipo de violencia, no estás solo. El Tribunal Electoral del Poder Judicial de la Federación creó la Defensoría Pública Electoral para mujeres. Aquí se brindan los servicios de orientación, asesoría y representación pública.
So there you go. Not sure if that helped at all. There's our EAS alert.
Hazard, 70. Expects food, Tikfa, Ponchatoula. This includes the following interstates. Interstate 12 between mile markers 30.
Federal agency ad, not a local. Gotcha.
Say snot and
If I remember right, that was about all we got.
been so grateful doing the show together.
As the genres of music, what you guys mean, and I know you know it's from over, right?
I think that was the only Spanish audio that we got on 92.7. Was this music that we had up here? here. If that was Yucatan, that'd be really nice. I mean, I was looking due south at that time. Slightly southeast. But this time I was looking down that way. Maybe yeah, I mean, that would be nice. That'd be really nice. I feel like I should be getting into Yucatan more than I do, honestly. The whole peninsula right there, Cancun, Merida, I should be getting into all that much more often than I do. I don't know. I didn't see anything here when I look on the waterfall. I didn't see anything showing up on 92.9 or 90. Well, look at 93.1 here real quick. No, that's gonna be HD. That's a local. That is not. I don't think.
Entregamos láminas para viviendas a familias vulnerables.
Okay, this has my interest. That's new. This is a frequency where I have a local talk station.
That we can prediction. Well, private and John like tells me that if you know that. Are you
Okay, you see how we have this transition happening here? We have just some sparse signal in here. This is talking. This is a semi-local. Oh, and it's Slidell. It's to my east. And then all of a sudden, boom, we get this. This is a different pattern. This is a different modulation, a different signal. That tells me on this waterfall, pay attention to this spot, and look what we get.
With the guidance of faithful scholars,
Quedan pocos lugares. Fecha de inscripción, sábado 3 de mayo de 2025 a las 8 a.m. Búscanos en Facebook como Instituto Soulmaya. Su amigo Mario Castañeda, la voz de Goku, lo recomienda. ¡Kamehameha!
Abarrotes La Violeta, tu abarrotera de confianza. Surte tu negocio en 24 horas. Aplica restricciones.
El mejor precio está aquí, La Violeta.
Ven a la venta especial de Liverpool solo este fin de semana. Aprovecha esta oportunidad con hasta 30% de descuento en bolsas.
Talking about the weekend. I'll reloop this again.
Pocos lugares. Fecha de inscripción, sábado 3 de mayo de 2025 a las 8 a.m. Búscanos en Facebook como Instituto Soulmaya. Su amigo Mario Castañeda, la voz de Goku, lo recomienda. ¡Kamehameha!
Abarrotes La Violeta, tu abarrotera de confianza. Surte tu negocio en 24 horas. Aplica restricciones.
El mejor precio está aquí, La Violeta.
Ven a la venta especial de Liverpool solo este fin de semana. Aprovecha esta oportunidad con hasta 30% de descuento en.
Interesting. Oh, by the way, I just saw this on the FMDX web server. Remember we were looking at that Tropo forecast map, and I said between Boston and the Mid-Atlantic, there's a possibility there could be some Tropo going on. Check it out. This is live. This is today, right now. Let's check our map. FM list, a visual logbook. Look, it looks like right now. Oh yeah, and this is the last 30 minutes. That's the last 30 minutes. If you go pull up one more time, I love it when this happens. This is just one of my favorite things in the world. When you look at Bill's Tropo forecast. Well, actually, we weren't looking at the forecast, were we? It is right now. That's close enough. That's his forecast. He's showing some Tropo right up in here, right? That's what he's showing. And then the APRS map, that's what we were looking at. APRS map says... So the forecast map tells me I should be looking for something maybe happening. I go to the APRS map and I say, well, it's happening at 2 meters. Let me go look at FM. Boom. This is proof of concept. The APRS could be an early warning for you. Look at the forecast. Look at APRS. Boom. It all comes together. 93.9 was Morella. XHMO All right, let's hear this again. Oh yeah, there was that Michoacán right there. Yeah.
Fecha de inscripción, sábado 3 de mayo de 2025 a las 8 a.m.
Búscanos en Facebook como Instituto Soulmaya. Su amigo Mario Castañeda, la voz de Goku, lo recomienda. ¡Kamehameha!
Abarrotes La Violeta, tu abarrotera de confianza. Surte tu negocio en 24 horas. Aplica restricciones.
El mejor precio está aquí, La Violeta.
Ven a la venta especial de
That's a new one.
solo este fin de semana. Aprovecha esta oportunidad con hasta 30% de descuento.
That is new.
Prepared by monks in a hidden cloistered monastery and is available in over 25 varieties. All mystic.
So now we keep scrolling. Look at this. They're going to come back in a big way here.
On how to purchase mystic.
So we have just casual stuff happening here.
Welcome back.
And now we get into it. Yeah, there you go. They do have a RDS code of 4Fs.
Comparado con Pepsi Light hace pesos. RC Pepsi Black. Comparado con Pepsi Light hace ejercicio. Precio sugerido expresado en moneda nacional.
Si al manejar buscas seguridad, comodidad y un diseño sobresaliente, entonces el auto que necesitas es un Honda. Estrena una BRB Touring con Honda Monarca en Paseo Altozano. Llévatela 12 meses sin intereses, más 0% de comisión por apertura. O bono de hasta 20,000 pesos. Consulta vigencia, términos y condiciones.
Pretty good signal. Little bit of a fade right here.
Llegaron los e-commerce days con miles de ofertas.
There's two stations in there. You hear that?
Como el tequila.
Consulta vigencia, términos.
So we've got the Michoacán station. These guys.
Llegaron los e-commerce days con miles de ofertas en línea. Como el tequila reposado cristalino diamante Maestro Dobel 700 mililitros de 849 pesos a solo 637. Aprovecha esta
We're about to confirm it, I think.
Lacomer.com. Evita el exceso.
Come on, RDS. Pop.
El PRI resuelve. Más de 20 brigadas en el país participan en la limpia de alcantarillados. En 15 estados de la República entregamos láminas para viviendas a familias vulnerables y así evitar daños.
Come on.
Tenemos en gira las brigadas de asistencia social y de salud para proteger el bolsillo.
There's going to be a little bit of a fade here. We've got some more peaks down here, but this is the big one. There's going to be an RDSD code in this. I guarantee it. Oh, there's that one. There's that ad.
Justicia social. En Soriana, 25% de descuento en toda la juguetería.
It's fun to hear that on the FM. Mexico Mike's, both of you guys, if one of y'all explain what that ad was, I think it was for like a national campaign, like a political campaign or a political party there in the country, wasn't it? This is all over the AM band. But you hear this little no. You hear that little melody, you know it's Mexico.
Una reforma histórica que prohíbe la reelección consecutiva y el nepotismo electoral.
Los aspirantes a cargos del.
Let's start up here.
En la Cámara de Diputados aprobamos una reforma histórica que prohíbe la reelección consecutiva y el nepotismo electoral.
Elección, yeah.
Los aspirantes a cargos de elección ya no podrán reelegirse de manera inmediata, garantizando la equidad en la gestión.
Tampoco se podrán heredar los puestos de elección popular entre familiares. Nuestro sistema democrático respetando la voluntad del pueblo. Cámara de Diputados. Justicia social. En Soriana, 25% de descuento en toda la juguetería.
Here we go.
O 20% de descuento en toda la dulcería y chocolates. Y consola Nintendo Switch OLED Neon, 6,990. Soriana, la de todos los mexicanos. Abril 28, aplican restricciones.
La emoción sobre ruedas te espera. Ven y vive la experiencia de manejar el futuro. Bestun y Jim llegan para revolucionar el mercado automotriz con tecnología, diseño y potencia que te van a sorprender. Haz tu prueba de manejo y descubre por qué todos están hablando de estas nuevas marcas. Estamos justo al lado de Cupra Garage Morelia. Bestun y Jim, espéralo muy pronto.
Mientras tú trabajas,
Nosotros también trabajamos para que no te quedes sin la mejor música.
Match 93.9. Éxitos.
Más música. Conéctate.
So So we get a match ID. We heard him mention a Morella. My bad. I was really thinking that RDS was gonna pop there for a second because that was super strong. Let's keep going though here. See if we can get that RDS to pop because I want that screen grab. Let's see. I'm gonna turn that down just a little bit so we don't get that copyright slap. Yeah, that's definite. Let's see what else we got here. That was definite. What the? So this is a little more south of west than what we had last night. Oh, my Shaq video's frozen? What? All right. Yeah, camera's froze. I'm just really intently staring at the screen.
Wow, yeah, Langostino, I remember that. I got a funny story for you.
Guy's doing a talk radio show, and he's got a guy on his cell phone, and he's putting the speaker up to this microphone like this. He's using that to talk. What? Come on, be more professional than that.
I was a kid, like
I mean, do what you got to do, but you can be better than that.
me and my it's like commercial.
Learn how to use the telecom system.
Los ganadores de esta semana de sus tarjetas Match para que utilicen en sus videojuegos.
There's Match again.
Edgar Omar Aguilera Cervantes, Kevin Alex desde su smartphone para que por ahí estén bien pendientes.
My dad loves your dad, man.
That's nice.
Que tenemos en el perfil, la que está en medio, la segunda. Instagram, en Instagram, la cuarta línea de publicaciones que tenemos en el perfil, la que está en medio, la segunda. Participar. En la música ya escuchamos.
Nice big signal here.
Es un clasicazo Matcher, se llama One More Time, que lo estás escuchando en esta tarde de viernes en Match 93.9. Conéctate.
All right, let's fast forward here. There's a second station in there. Hear it? Oh, you're right. I was looking at the wrong RDS code. My bad. Yeah, there's somebody else in there. There's a second station.
Special items. New Orleans says.
Now we've got English,
menu
local.
Food days at France. That's almost like at that.
Innovative interlock.
A streetcar.
It's a thoughtful.
In our entire city.
Idell, Baton Rouge.
We live to. That is our slow. All makes him.
Oh wow, now they're super loud here. All right, let's just look around a bit. Show you guys how I basically do this process. And then we're going to talk about this VHF forecast and do some more shout outs. I'm not going to hear anything there. I'm not going to hear anything there. 94.5, that's a candidate. So we're going to zoom in a bit. Right here. So there's something there on 94.5. I'm going to get so many copyright. That's the danger of FMDX on live stream on YouTube. You're going to just get nailed on this copyright stuff. Whatever. I don't. It's okay. Let me scroll down a bit more and see if anything else flared up in here. So we got that one. Right now, 94.5 is MUF on this opening. So, nope, that's it. Just the one. We have country there. Here's another open frequency. This last one we'll check here. Let's just look and see if anything flared up here on 95.1. And if this didn't, then we can kind of safely say the MUF was around 94.5. Not seeing anything, not seeing anything. Not seeing anything. And I'm keeping an eye on 95.3 to the right there, just to double check. So that's one of the reasons that when I'm doing this, I'll zoom out a little bit. So I'll center, I always center whatever frequency I'm on right in the middle. And I'm keeping an eye as I'm scrolling through. I'm keeping an eye over here. I'm keeping an eye over here. And I'm looking for any bursts that I might see there as well. So that, okay, when I go to 95.3, let's say I was continuing up, I could already have an idea of what to expect. And like, okay, there was a burst right there. I know there was another burst down lower, things like that. So I kind of keep an eye on my frequencies. Am I still froze? Yeah, still froze. I keep an eye on those frequencies to kind of get an idea of what's there. So that is a little technique that I picked up that really has helped me out in kind of maximizing getting more stuff in there as well. Yeah, Blazer Bob, I've tried. It's super hard. I've tried to turn it down. Sometimes if you turn it down and kind of talk over top of it, that seems to work. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the VHF forecasts that our friend Joe Lynch in the Spectrum Monitor put out this month in this edition of the Spectrum Monitor, the May edition that just hit the streets this week. We're going to kind of briefly talk about what he's saying in there. Obviously, we want to make sure you pick up a copy of the magazine and read more detailed for yourself. But we'll talk a bit about what it says in there and what that might mean for us on the FMDX side of things. Maybe nothing. May not mean anything for us. I don't know. We'll take a look. More DX Central Live is coming your way right after this.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
From long wave to satellites, medium wave through HF, ham radio to scanners. If you can DX it, the Spectrum Monitor has you covered. Editor and publisher Ken Reitz has assembled a who's who of radio writers to share their knowledge and expertise from a wide range of DX-related topics. Each month, the Spectrum Monitor's columnists dive into their specialties to give readers tips, tricks, the latest news and station updates, and more. The Spectrum Monitor also provides a monthly assortment of feature articles that give in-depth insight into the past, present, and future of DXing. You can get a full year of the Spectrum Monitor for only $24. Individual issues from the current year are available for $3 each. You can also purchase previous years of the Spectrum Monitor in their entirety for as low as $12. For more information, visit thespectrummonitor.com. That's thespectrummonitor.com. For more than 90 years, the National Radio Club has been at the forefront of providing DXers with the latest in station news, DX-related technical information, and reception reports from DXers around the world. The NRC's AM Radio Log, now in its 45th edition, is the most expansive and detailed resource of station information for U.S. and Canadian radio stations that is available in any format. The club's publication, the DX News, is available in both print and electronic format and provides the latest information on call letter and format changes, construction permits, and other information to help keep DXers informed of the latest updates they may hear on the air. For more information, visit their website at nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org. With a lifetime membership, the International Radio Club of America gives DXers incredible value by putting important station information right at your fingertips. The club's e-publication, the DX Monitor, includes DXer loggings, station information updates, international loggings, and more. Other club publications include the IRCA Mexican Log, a must-have resource for any DXer that chases stations from Mexico, the TIS-HAR list, the IRCA slogan list, sunset sunrise maps, and DXer technical guides. The joint IRCA-NRC email reflector and groups.io group is a hub for real-time DX conditions, station news, and DX-related conversation. For more information, visit ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central. Central North Shore Studios. This is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
It's DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios here in Mandeville, Louisiana, where we have one more week after tonight. And then we'll be wrapping up Season 5 and taking a bit of a break so we can do the FMDX season and prepare for the next season of AMDXing and getting everything ready. But don't fret, we're not going to leave you in the lurch here. You're going to still have some fun stuff to take advantage of in the name of our Summer of DX Challenge. We'll be giving you more details about that next week. Also next week in our season finale, we were originally supposed to have one guest tonight joining us for our live stream tonight. They had to reschedule, but it actually worked out nicely because now instead of one guest tonight, next week for our season finale, you're getting two special guests joining us live on the stream. Pretty tasty. You guys are going to like this. We're going to have a really awesome discussion next week with these two guests coming in next week. So there you go. Also next week, we're going to release our findings, or at least our initial findings. This is going to be an ongoing project, so I don't want to think that like we're done, right? There's going to be some more stuff coming. But at least our initial findings and analysis on 8 years of sporadic e-openings in North America and sporadic e-logs in North America. And we are diving into this from all angles. I've been working on this for months and months and months and months and months, and spent the other day working on a brand new mapping software I'd never used before, never even heard of before, but was using some YouTube videos to go in there and learn how to use it and trying to do some path mapping and stuff like that for some of our analysis. So we're diving in deep on this. So next week, we're going to release our analysis of 8 years of sporadic E data from North America and talk about what we found. And there's some interesting nuggets in there. We're also going to have our special guest joining us. We're going to be releasing the Summer DX Challenge, wrapping up Season 4 of the Medium Wave Frequency Challenge. We'll be ending the Alphabet Challenge next week. Kudos, John Johnson in Arizona, the very first person to get all 26 letters of the alphabet via AM radio for our Alphabet Challenge, and the 9 letters for spelling out DX Central with completely unique stations. So kudos to you, John Johnson, our first person to get all of them. Let's test that real quick and see. Did I fix my... No, I didn't. I made it worse. I made it much worse. So we're not going to use that. Time for more shout-outs. Let's go.
Hear the call for every single big or small, from AM to FM, from C to C. We celebrate the ones who slag the IT. Shout out loud, let it be known, you're never DXing all alone. Through the static we found our way. Shout outs making waves today.
I just saw somebody said, and I'm on the Discord server for the FMDX web server and the FMDX.org project, and it looks like there is now a $100 upcharge on TEF radios. I'm guessing that's what they're talking about here. So it's $69 plus $100 upcharge. I'm guessing that's a tariff upcharge. $169. I don't know how I want to do that. I thought my understanding was that the tech stuff was supposed to be not included in the tariff, but maybe they're being difficult. I don't know. $169 for a TEF radio. That's you gotta want it pretty bad for that. I don't know. All right. Let's talk about some more shout outs here for you guys, because we have some to get to. You guys have been doing some DX and hearing some cool stuff, so we want to talk about that. And we're going to go now to our next one here on the list, which is David Harden in Georgia. David comes in saying, I couldn't go back to sleep one morning this week, so I did what any medium wave DXer would do. I got up to see what I could find on the radio. I have a target list of stations, as you once suggested. I tuned to 850. There were several stations there. I was looking for KOA. I heard Denver being mentioned, and then a young lady spoke of our sister station in 630. I had it. There was KOA from Denver. New state, one station to cross off my target list. Man, I love it when a plan comes together. You put the work in advance. You say, these are the stations I'm going to target. I'm just going to go look for these things to fill these gaps in my logbook, whether it's states or whatever it might be, and bam, there it was. Awesome. Love it, love it, love it, love it. I then went to 1520 looking for KOKC. I did hear a brief ID, another new log, and another new state. Also logged 1420 to be DJA from Delray Beach, Florida. 1430 to be LKF from Lakeland, Florida. Tuning over to FM, DX when waiting for curbside pickups. And yesterday I found WISK 98.7 from Americus, Florida. This afternoon snagged WBAM 98.9 from Montgomery, Alabama, both Tropo. But the biggest surprise when I looked at my logging notebook and I found a logging for WGSX 91.7 from Lawrenceburg. Looking on Google, I found out that was Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. A new state for me on FM. Not Georgia, Tennessee. What a week, says David. So we got to, first off, get you the new state. We got to shoot some fireworks. And we got to get you that new log in there as well. So 2 new AM states and a new FM state. There you go. Well done. Well done. And that's also I'm gonna give you the gold thing too, because you were shooting for a goal to get KOA, and you got it. You put the plan together, and you pulled it off. I saw you guys talking about Weatherband DX. I have right now two. I have my main rig is an AirSpy R2 that is paired with a 162 megahertz cut J pole, and that's up at about 20 something feet up in the air right now. And that's my main Weather DX rig. I want to improve my Weather DX setup, but that's on the list after FM and after TV. I also have a second SDR I use. It's my AirSpy HF Plus Dual, and that it has a Grove Scan Tana up in the attic that I also can use for Weather DX as well. I am considering getting a 162 megahertz Yagi that I can split off and have it's going to go to AIS use. We have a lot of boats around this area, the Gulf of Mexico included. I'd love to be able to see down there. And so half of it would go to AIS, half of it would go to another AirSpy SDR that would be tied to OpenWeb RX so that it could be an online receiver for FM, for weather, or whatever. So that is a goal for down the line. All right. Next up on our list, we have Barry Bankston. On the morning of April 19th, I topped my Tropo distance record with 107.5 KGLK, Lake Jackson, Texas, coming in at 746 miles. One thing of note, Bill Hepburn's Tropo forecast map showed me barely getting any Tropo during the time of this logging. It pays to verify with your ears, regardless of what the forecast map is showing. I'm going to show you this map because it's actually still up. The Saturday map is still up. So this is what Barry was saying. This is 7 a.m. Saturday morning, the 19th. This is what the Tropo forecast showed. Now, he heard a couple of stations. I'm going to pull up his logs here. This is what Barry heard. This is his location here in Crossville, Tennessee. He got a station over here in Mississippi in Bay St. Louis and a couple stations down here in Houston, right? So that was Barry's path right here. Here's the forecast map. What do you notice? This is very close to what I was talking about in my Tropo forecast video, when we talk about how sometimes, even if you're not under the forecasted, like the colored area of the scale, even if you're not directly under it, or if you're not under the hot spot, that if you're adjacent to it, sometimes you can be on the opposite end of the duct. And kind of like, think about a pipe, right? Water goes into a pipe, comes out the other side, and does it go straight down? Sometimes it does. Sometimes if it's a strong enough flow, it's going to go out a little bit, right? And then come down. Same thing here. If that's a strong enough opening, you're going to see on both sides of that. I guarantee you there are people in Houston who probably could have heard in Tennessee on the other end of that duct. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. So here is, up here in this area is where he was, and it's showing as like a marginal to moderate opening. He's adjacent to the good stuff here. He's got a lot of good stuff in between him, including some strong stuff down here in the Houston area. And it's just going to shoot right up there to him, and bam, that's what he got. So even if you look on the map and you say, well, there's some good stuff down south of me, but I'm not really, I mean, I've got something here, but it's not like great. Still check. Because if you get that duct just right, you can hitch a ride on that duct and you can catch stuff. That's exactly how I got, where's my Tropo? I know I showed this to you guys so many times, but it just blows my mind every time I look at it. That's exactly how I got involved in this opening right here. Oops, I pulled the wrong map. This one. That's how I got involved in this one. My Tropo forecast, I was in the blue, just like Barry. I was in the blue, maybe the light green. The good stuff was to my north. But that propagation just shot right through, and those signals came out the other end of the pipe, and my antenna was just there to catch it. That's how this works sometimes. Sometimes you can luck out, and that's how you can get into the DX. So, my friend, we'll get you there. Here's the clip.
The best 80s classic rock plays here on Houston's only classic rock, The Eagle.
There you go. Richard asked about my lightning protection. I use the best kind you can have. I unplug my stuff. I unplug. That's what I do. That's how I protect my gear. Now, I do have on some of my antennas, like my mini whips, I have a ground rod with a lightning arrestor on there, and I'm about to put one on my Yagi antenna with a 33-foot mast. I'm about to do the exact same thing. Otherwise, I just unplug because I'm not playing around with this stuff anymore. I've had too much gear go out over the years. Our friend Carl in Tennessee is next up on the list. Just one new log this week. I didn't have a whole lot of time for DXing. Feel that. 790 WBLO in Thomasville, North Carolina for log number 1018. There we go for Carl. There we go. Well done, my friend. That's number 1018 for our friend Carl. And remember, he's doing that with portables. Unbelievable. Neil Wolfish in Ontario checking in. Actually logged a new one this week. 1380 KCII in Washington, Iowa on April 22nd at 1000 UTC. We're going to saw some logs for our friend Neil as well. All right. Next up, we have our friend Sean Kutsko. Been casually DXing in the early mornings this week. Completed the first part of the ABC challenge. No new logs in the process. I thought you got some gumbo this week, man. Didn't you get some gumbo this week? I already had a whole pot here made up for you. I thought you were getting some gumbo. My bad. I did buy the bullet and picked up a Stellar Labs 4-element Yagi for FM. And take down my 10-meter Moxon off my push-up mast and put up the FM Yagi in its place. It'll be up at about 20 feet. That's good. Might be buying another AirSpy HF Plus Discovery. That's what happens. Put up the antenna. That means I'm going to buy another radio, or vice versa. Got the new radio. Got to get new antenna. I keep saying the words, I'm good on SDRs. I don't have to buy any more SDRs, or I don't have to put up any more antennas. I'm good. I'm done. And then I just keep buying more stuff and more antennas and more radios. And my wife looks at me every time. She goes, now, how many antennas is that you have up in the air now? I'm like, it's 20 something now. Are you counting the indoor ones too, or just the outdoor, or are we talking AM, FM, shortwave, ham radio? I mean, if you want to combine all of it, I mean, yeah, it's close to 20. I know you didn't get a new log, but I just wanted to hit that. We're going to also hit the... nope, not that one. This one. There you go. All right. That's all the shout-outs we have in so far. You still have time to get yours in if you want to. Just go to dxchallenges.com/shoutout. And let us know what you have been hearing, or what gear you've been picking up, or what goals you've achieved, or whatever it might be. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, we definitely recommend that you do, especially since we're winding down the live stream season. We're going to be posting videos like crazy. I've got a couple more that I got to film this weekend. I got a couple more already that I've shot footage for, and I got to edit and put up. I mean, we're still... I probably have another couple weeks left of videos to put up several times a week for this getting ready for the FMDX season series that we're doing right now. The most recent was tonight, and that was on Bill Hepburn's Tropo Forecast. So you definitely want to go check that out. We talk about the mechanics. And one of the things that I learned this week that I hadn't really thought about, the sea surface temperatures and the impact that can have on DX and Tropo. And I got to thinking about it because I saw a post on Twitter that said this year, compared to last year, the sea surface temperatures are much, much, much colder this year than they were last year. Or cooler. We'll say not cold, cooler than last year. And I got to thinking about it. I said, well, last year wasn't a really great tropo season, at least not in the spring. The spring tropo season was kind of last year. So is there any impact? And so I got to thinking about it, did some research, and it turns out there can be. Now, it's not a guarantee because there are other factors that go into play. But if you have a situation where you have higher temperatures inland, right? Let's say you're getting we're supposed to be in the 90s this coming week. Well, if you've got 90-degree temperatures inland, and you've got cooler water temperatures out over the water, what's going to happen? Well, the mechanics of the atmosphere are going to be this. The hot air is going to heat everything in the atmosphere from the top down. And if it's heating all the way down to the surface in the 90s, that's going to cause that warm air to rise back up. As the warm air rises, for those of you near a coastline, what happens? The sea breeze comes in and fills that gap in with cool air. That's how we get temperature inversions, because the temperature inversion is just cooler air at the surface, warmer air aloft, because that's not supposed to happen. It's supposed to be the opposite. So cool air at the surface and the lower part of the atmosphere, warmer air aloft, and that's what creates temperature inversions, and that's what refracts and bends those radio signals back down. Well, if you have cooler surface temperatures on the ocean, the sea surface temperatures, that's going to bring in cooler air at the surface. Now, if the temperatures are warmer in the 80s, right, and your temperature is in the 80s, there's not much of a difference there. There's not much of a temperature difference that's going to cause that temperature inversion. You might be talking a couple of degrees here and there, but if the sea surface temperatures are in the 70s and you're in the 90s inland, that's a big difference. Now your warm air is going to rise up, your sea breeze is going to blow in, fill the gap, you're going to cool down around sunset real fast with that sea breeze, and now you've got a temperature inversion. Guess what? Now your FM signal is refracting back down. So that's why I think we're seeing some of those things, like we saw the big opening this last week between Bermuda, seeing North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Virginia. I think that's exactly, you looked at the way that the forecast map showed, it was just a big region of just tropo. And it's because that sea surface temperature is so much lower this year compared to where here in the Southeast, we're already getting pretty toasty. You got a big temperature differential going on there. That warm air is going to rise up and raise that air up on land. The sea breeze is going to come in to fill the gap, cool everything off. You got yourself a temperature inversion. So if you're along the coastline, if you're supposed to get some pretty toasty temperatures, it's going to take a while for those sea surface temperatures to warm up. It doesn't happen overnight. So even if you have sustained for several days of 80, 90 degrees, it's going to be probably June before we see those temperatures really start to climb into what we typically would see. So this time of the year, we are climbing. But last year, this time of the year, we were already there. We were already at June, July temperatures back in May and April. So last year, the temperature differential between land and sea surface was not that much. So tropo wasn't really, in the mechanics of it, there were some types of openings, but the mechanics of it on the coastline wasn't really there. So last year was kind of disappointing. Now I know why. Now, if you've got cooler air inland, right? So let's say we're not in the 90s. Let's say we're down in the 70s. And you've got cool sea surface temperatures. Everything's cool. Tropo's dead. There's no different. You need that temperature differential to allow that sea breeze to come in and fill the gap and create your temperature inversion where it's cooler at the surface than it is above it. If it's already cool at the surface and it's cool above and you bring more cool air in, or there's no rush of air rising, so the cool air from the sea breeze doesn't even have a chance to come in, you're not going to get tropo. Now, there are instances where that sea breeze can go over top, and then you get tropo that way, but those are different. So all this is to say, tropo is hopefully a little bit better off this year because we see some differences in the way that the sea surface temperatures are working on the coastal areas and some of the things we're seeing, like some of the weather patterns we're seeing, which brings me to my next point. Let's talk a bit about this forecast for the summertime by Joe Lynch, N6CL. And this is in the May edition of the Spectrum Monitor magazine, thespectrummonitor.com. I highly recommend that you go out and pick up a copy of this one. It's $3 if you're not a subscriber, or if you're a subscriber, you get the entire year for $24 at $2 an issue. So there's really no incentive for you not. There's no reason for you not to go ahead and get the full year. You get much better rate and you get all this stuff. So I'm not going to read everything to you here because I do want you to pick up the copy of the article and read it. But he's basically making a point that there's a couple of things that are happening here that are going to lead to high-end HF and parts of VHF propagation being potentially better than what we have seen in a very long time. He's speaking specifically on 10 and 6 meters, but I think there's also something to kind of keep an eye on here for FM. The number one thing that's kind of driving this, he thinks, is a double peak in solar cycle 25. So in previous solar cycles, there was a double peak. And part of that, they believe, is kind of precipitated by the northern and southern hemisphere of the sun, and different hemispheres of the sun will peak at different times. So we've already seen one peak in 2024 of solar cycle 25. We appear to be heading for a second peak now. I'm sorry, it was in 2024. We appear to be heading for a second peak now, solar cycle 25 this year. That should be happening over the next several months. Perfect timing. What does that mean? Well, from a 10 meter, 6 meter standpoint, it means one thing: F layer, F2 skip. F2 skip is the holy grail for 10 meters to 6 meters. You start talking about 6 meter F2 skip, and you're talking about some big time signal paths, huge distances. I'm talking US to Japan, into Asia, into Europe, all over the place. And it's like commonplace, not just the big guns doing it, right? And not having to wait for an E-skip opening to happen. I don't know what kind of impact this is going to have on E-skip. Now, he does talk in the article about the possibility of some linking or some merging of propagation paths where you have E-skip causing a bounce and then that actually putting it up to the F layer and then it bouncing back even further on like 10 and 6 meters. So there's like this merging or this linking that can happen that can lead to like super crazy distant propagation on 6 and 10 meters. I don't know. The reason I don't know how this would impact FM is because the traditional logic is that the FM frequencies are a little too high for F-skip. Now, is that because we've never seen the F2 layer ionized to a point that it would give us FM F2 skip? Or is it just because the frequencies are not capable of being reflected back by the F layer? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one. The traditional logic that I've seen is that FM doesn't really get F skip, but that could be just because we've never seen it really happen. Or maybe it did happen back in the day before we realized what it was and we didn't really have the technology. So this is going to be an interesting year, I think, to see what impact this solar cycle and some of the solar activity has on the possibility could we see some F skip on FM? I don't know. And again, what impact does that have on E skip? It depends. I mean, if you're getting, if the mechanics behind what we think are the mechanics behind E skip are influenced at all by solar activity, which the jury is still out on that. Increased solar activity could create some different ionization than we've seen. The conventional thinking right now is that sporadic E is caused by ionized meteor dust in the E layer of the ionosphere, and that it's propagated and kind of clumped together by gravity waves. Gravity waves that are caused by things like the jet stream and things like that. But I don't know. I don't know what impact we'd be looking at from a standpoint of if you're ionizing the heck out of the F layer to a point we've not seen in probably 30, 40 years. If you're ionizing the F layer to that kind of level, is that going to impact the E layer as well? And if you start ionizing the E layer, guess what? You're talking E skip potentially. So it'll be interesting to see. I would be very, very interested to see how, if any, because I'm one of those people that I don't think that there is a direct correlation, because I need data to tell me this. I need some data to tell me there's a direct correlation between solar activity and sporadic E, and I haven't seen any yet. In doing all the research that we've done, the preliminary research that we did, using some of the data. What was the extra's name? Using his data, the guy from Texas. I am so sorry. He was a friend of my dad's, and I forget his name right now. I'm blanking on his name. But some of the preliminary data that he had, and comparing that to solar activity, I was doing a direct correlation look, and I didn't see anything. And most of the activity that we've had in the North American analysis that we have right now is during the end of solar cycle 24, beginning of solar cycle 25. So there's not enough data to really make a correlation on the data that I have right now. And in doing my research, I couldn't find anything that basically said yay or nay one way or another that solar activity does or does not influence E-layer ionization. So this is all to say, from an E perspective, I don't know what to expect. From a Tropo perspective, I expect a better season this year in the early part of the season. And unless we get like crazy hot this summer and those temperatures get crazy hot in the sea surface, if we just have a normal year sea surface temperature wise, I would expect a better fall because it'll cool off a little quicker. I would expect a better fall season, potentially, maybe, for Tropo, where you're having that warmer air kind of blow in as we get colder air coming in. So I would expect that to maybe be a little bit better as well. So we'll see. But that's something to definitely go take a look at. Joe Lynch's article, Insects CL, is summer HF and VHF propagation. I think he's right about the 6 and the 10 meters. I think he's absolutely spot on about 6 and 10 meters. If we get the peak that we're expecting to see here from solar cycle 25 this summer, and if you start seeing 150, 170, 190 plus sunspots on the cycle, I'm talking about sunspot count numbers of 150, 160 plus. If you're a ham radio operator and you're not on 10, 6 meters, you need to be, because you're going to potentially see some paths you might not see again for a very long time. So I'm definitely going to, I've got my 6 meter beam up finally, and I'm ready to roll. Will that lead to anything for FM? We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, from an AM perspective, what does it mean? It means if you have increased solar activity, it means an increased likelihood of an auroral propagation, which means an increased enhancement for Latin America possibly. And I'm all about that life. You guys know I'm all about that. So there you go. All right. That's the main things that I wanted to talk about here this evening. Were the propagation stuff, how to spot it, how to look for it. We talked about that tonight. We talked about the real quick, let me talk about the opening that we just had yesterday, because I haven't given you guys the full synopsis of that one just yet. So let me do that real quick. And then we'll go ahead and wrap up a little early tonight, because I don't have live DX2 tonight because everything's unplugged because of storms. So let's go ahead and take a look at our logbook from last night and just show you guys. I already talked about the methodology that was there behind spotting the opening. But let's take a look now at, here are the logs. There was 14 logs that came in during last night's opening, right around the 7 o'clock-ish hour. And it started off with the Cancun log. I think there were 2 E-clouds involved here. Because we had a definite southern propagation path right down to Cancun, due south of here. And that crossed that path of what I was seeing from Texas to Florida and Florida to Texas. So, Barry wants me to look at the forecast. Yeah, I'll do that. That crossed that path. So I'm convinced that was E-skip, not like meteor scatter. It wasn't Tropo. I'm convinced it was crossing this path that was going on like this, right? You guys can't really see it. I keep forgetting I'm not in the right camera anymore. Cross like that, right? And then that kind of dissipated. And then we got that southwest path over into Sinaloa and, to that direction, Durango. And that was there for about 30 minutes. Then I saw Merida. Yucatan, state of Yucatan. So I almost feel like that E-cloud that was sitting there that got me Cancun, the MUF dropped, and then it came back up again. It re-intensified. And right there, about an hour later, that's when I got Yucatan. And so I'm sure that was the same cloud, or the remnants of that cloud that had reformed and re-raised the MUF, and then it was gone. It was out really quick. I don't think it was a zigzagged thing, because that's not how these E-clouds usually do. I think it was the remnants of the E-cloud that got me Cancun, re-ionized and re-energized. Something kind of bursted it back up again real quick, and I got the Estado de Yucatan. And then all the other stuff that was there, 14 total stations, 5 Mexican states. 2 of those are new, Quintana Roo and Durango, both brand new Mexican states for me on FM, which was awesome. A bunch of new stations. Of the 14, 13 of them were brand new. Peak mileage was 1,192 miles. And that took place right around 7:35 local time, 0035 UTC. Shortest distance was the 2 to the peninsula, to Cancun and Yucatan. Other than that, the shortest was to Torreon, about 879 miles. That happened, interestingly enough, both of the loggings that I had from that one location happened at the exact same time on different frequencies. So I got like a little burst in that E cloud. There was one little burst of reflections from that one location that came back down here. It just happened that there were some stations that were transmitting from there that were on some frequencies that I had open spots on. And that's all eSkip is. That's all that eSkip openings are. And this is why I was talking about this earlier. Why would I be sitting on 92.1 and 92.5 and not have something but 92.7 pops? Because in the place that the reflections were coming from, there was nothing on 92.1 or 92.5 to reflect. Now, there may have been something there on other frequencies like 92.7, and you just hope that what stations are available in the area that's reflecting off of that cloud happen to coincide with the location on the band that you have an open spot. What if they're on a place where you have a local? You're not going to know about it. You're not going to see it. And I think that's why sometimes we see some of these openings where you have gaps in the, especially on these weaker openings, these gaps in the band where you're like, well, why do I have an MUF here of 97.3 and nothing below it? Well, it just so happens that the exact location that's reflecting off of that cloud right now, there's one station that you can see because of your local band and what spots you have available. There is one station that you can see, and it happens to be on 97.3. That's what an eSkip opening is. It's luck. It's just, that's why I think the Caribbean islands are so hard to hear. Because if you move just a little bit this way or a little bit that way, water, water. A little shorter, water. A little longer, water. You have to hit the exact right reflection angle for that station on that little island to go up, hit that cloud, come back down to you. That's what you're hoping for. And it needs to be a frequency that you have available to you. That's what makes this so magical, guys. That's what makes these such magical propagation paths. Have I ever caught anything from Tampico? Let me take a look at my logbooks. I don't recall off the top of my head. I know I have on AM. Let me take a look on the FM side. And we're not going to be doing a top of the hour alert right now, unfortunately, because I don't have anything plugged in. And so if you are DXing from home, by all means, let us know what you're hearing. We want to hear your stuff, especially if you're getting in on some of this this action. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Tampico stations. Here they are. XHS, XHEOLA, XHMTS, XHTW, and XHTPO. All of those were heard in, well, all but one were heard in 2023. Most of that was on 2 openings, 6/10/23 and 6/16/23 in June. One August 24th opening that we had, that was not E. That was Meteor Scatter. Oh, those 16th, those were Tropo. So two Tropo, 2 Sporadic E, and a Meteor Scatter for Tempico. There you go. Barry wants us to look at the forecast for the Tropo forecast. Let's take a look at that sucker and see if we can interpret what's going to be happening here over the next couple of days and give you guys a chance to get a heads up. So I'm going to do Eastern North America here as my starting point. And I'll try to call out locations that I think are be helpful. So it is right now 9 o'clock. And so that is 0200. So this is close enough. 03. That's next hour, 10 o'clock. All right. So looking at what we have here, we have a little bit here off the coast. And this is what we're seeing, right? We're seeing this stuff up here in New England down into mid-Atlantic. We're seeing probably a little bit here. Let me pull up the current map and see if we can compare to validate this forecast. So yeah, I mean, there's that northeast stuff. That right now, that's the hot spot of what's happening. And I bet if I looked at the all tuners map, rabbit ears, I'd be seeing quite a bit. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, they're having themselves some fun tonight up in New England and in the Mid-Atlantic. Nothing really happening here. Again, you're going to see these gray paths. These are old logs. We're looking for dark lines. These are dark lines. These are new. So this is currently occurring right now. And maybe a little bit over here into Michigan. Look at all the autologgers in Michigan. Nicely done, guys. But yeah, Northeast is having themselves some fun, and you can see why. We're getting a push of air that is colder at the surface than it is above. And that's what they're getting in here right now. All right, so let's continue forward in time, and I'll pull up the time up here. So this is 1 o'clock in the morning tonight, Central Time. It's going to start to dissipate up here in New England, so by about 5 o'clock in the morning, it's gone. This is 2 o'clock in the morning Eastern Time. Up northeast, North Atlantic, you're done, almost. By the morning, you're done. Down here on the Gulf Coast, we've got a little bit here. I would say up towards your way, Barry, it's pretty light. Maybe some stuff over here in Arkansas, maybe. If, I mean, this purple is probably not going to be much, but if you linked up, it wouldn't be linking up with anything super strong anyway, that kind of fair, so I wouldn't anticipate too much out of that. Coastal Carolina is down in the Florida. You probably got a shot. If I was still in Charleston, I'd be looking down in Florida right now. Tell you that. So let's move forward here. This is Saturday. Let's go into, we'll see if we see any hot spots during the day. But let's look at Saturday night. So this is Saturday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. Nothing really standing out. Some stuff up here in the Great Lakes. Nothing really super satisfying that I'm seeing here just yet. Maybe a little bit building in here. Our usual suspects, Houston, Beaumont, down in Corpus, Reynosa, Lake Charles. This is kind of that usual right here. This little bend between Louisiana and Texas down to Mexico. That's the usual hotspot. We get in on it every once in a while, and we get to get over here. We might get on the Panhandle. But down into Mexico, that's a little bit more rare. Down to the peninsula, Florida, a little more rare. Inland above us, definitely more rare. I'm not seeing anything like that right now. Here's some more Great Lakes stuff going on. This is around 1 o'clock Central Time tomorrow night. 2 o'clock Eastern Time tomorrow night. A little bit here in the Midwest. Again, not a whole lot. A little bit pushed in here. Now, Boot Crew North, you might have a little bit of tasty stuff here that gets you down into Texas. 7 a.m. Central Time. Sunday. Here it starts to burn off. And this is why you see it burn off, by the way. When I say it burns off in the daytime, it's because the sun evenly heats that atmosphere all the way down. So it starts, you have that colder air at the surface, and then as the sun comes out during the daytime, it just burns all that down, all the way down to the surface. And now you have even heating through all the layers, and it becomes more traditional. But then you get that sea breeze in the evening that blows in, cools off your surface temps, you get Tropo. A little bit here around Kansas, Oklahoma, that looks good. Should be some nice Gulf Tropo here Monday. This is 1 o'clock Monday morning, so Sunday night, Central Time. We might have a shot at some nice Gulf Tropo here. And I'll have to look at the Gulf Caribbean to see how far down this extends, because I'm itching to get Cuba. Pushing in now, look here. Monday morning into Arkansas, Boot Crew North. Nice look here, eastern Texas into Arkansas, northwest Louisiana. That kind of splits off here from the main surge that's coming in from the Gulf. Get a little bit of a split off here. Let's see if this moves along. Nope. Great Lakes up in here, you got a little bit. Not really a whole lot here on the East Coast. Something developing here. What's this? Is that a front coming through? Maybe have a little front coming through here. Weak front. Really some nice Tropo Monday night, Tuesday morning. Again here off the Carolina coast. So would this produce that Bermuda stuff? Doubtful. You'd be looking for like all of this right here between Bermuda and the Carolinas to be lit up. And I'm just not seeing that. If it's there, it's going to be weak. Ooh, look at Tuesday morning. Ooh, look at Tuesday morning down here in the Gulf South. I'm talking up into Arkansas, Mississippi. Now, if you're over here in southern Illinois, western Kentucky, southeastern Missouri, western Tennessee, if you're over here, I'd be looking for sure Tuesday morning, 7 o'clock Central Time. I'd be looking for sure down to Texas, down to Arkansas. You've got a shot at hitting out the other end of this duct over here if that develops and gets into FM. That's going to be nice. Barry, you've got a little bit of a shot here. Maybe hooking into this little blob right here. Now we're getting into Tuesday next week. We're getting a little bit further out in our forecast. So take this kind of stuff with a grain of salt. With a grain of salt, it's going to probably change. But you might have a little bit of a blob here into Alabama, Mississippi. Great Lakes. Nothing. Here's a little bit more off the New England coast. Looking on Tuesday morning. Tuesday night, Wednesday. Again, you see that Gulf air push in. Same mechanics. Gulf sea breeze blows in, pushes that Tropo in because you're cooling off all this area down here that was probably in the 90s during the day. Now you're seeing it cool off with the sea breeze because those sea temperatures are still cooler than that surface air is, and boom, you get Tropo. That's how it works, man. And look how far it pushes in. How far it pushes in depends on how strong of a temperature differential there really is, and how far it can push in to fill in that gap of that warm air rising. And you see it's pushing all the way into Arkansas, Alabama, Mississippi. Thursday starts to break down a little bit. We have some stuff here off the coast of the Florida. Florida, Georgia, South Carolina in here on Thursday. You guys got a shot. There's some back here in Texas. That's the end. Like I said, this is kind of far out in the future, so I wouldn't put a whole lot of credence into that. But if I look at my forecast, my local forecast here for next week, I'm gonna pull up my app, my local Fox 8 weather app that we have here for one of our local TV stations, and I trust their meteorologist. Oh, come on. It just closed on itself. I probably next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm going to see temperatures every day around 90. And what do you know? Monday, 90. Tuesday, 88. Wednesday, 88 and warm breeze, it says. 86 on Thursday, storm chance. But then we get to Friday and Saturday next week, goes down to 83. Cold front comes through. That's going to clear out some Tropo. It's gonna reduce that temperature differential between the land and the sea surface temperatures. We're gonna see reduction in Tropo probably next week, but in between it's gonna be cooking. So there you go. I don't see much happening. A little bit here on the coast, East Coast, maybe a little bit up here again. Tuesday Tuesday afternoon, maybe on the East Coast. Up here, right here off like Long Island into Mid-Atlantic, you might get in on some of this. Maybe down in the Carolinas, maybe this might hook up and become more of a duct right here. That potentially could happen. Yeah, we're just going to be looking at here the Gulf South at a lot of that kind of coastal stuff pushing in, giving us warm temperatures here on the surface, and then a cool breeze pushing in. Boom, boom, boom. You see how it just happens every day. You can, if you play it fast, you can really see it. Now, the next couple of days, it's going to be warm, but not as warm as what we're going to get next week. And then you get to Monday, boom, it pushes in. Look how strong it is. Comes out, daytime heats it up, evens everything out. Boom. Tuesday, same thing. You get that Tuesday morning stuff. Boom. Wednesday, it's just boom. Thursday, there's that sea surface, sea breeze cooling it off at the surface, popping that tropo. What you guys talking about over here in the chat? Huge severe weather risk from Kansas to Minnesota on Tuesday. Let's see. You can sometimes get a front. There you go. This is Tuesday night, or I'm sorry, Monday night into Tuesday morning, overnight. There's a front. That's probably what's kind of behind some of that. You can get these frontal tropo openings that just travel along the front. The front acts like a duct. You can get that. And it looks like it hits the stable air down here in the southeast and kills it. And then the Gulf says, boom, boom, moisture, 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 moisture. Just boom, just popping it. Let's see. Wanting to do a Keys trip for some Cuba TV. Man, read my mind. Blazer Bob, what about in Southwest Georgia? I didn't see a lot there for you guys. Let me back up here for the weekend and Monday. I think that's the main places I would see. You do have a little bit of this here. I would say probably this morning, in the morning here, I would probably look down to your southwest into the peninsula here in Florida. You might have a shot at some stuff, and I'm in the peninsula, the panhandle of Florida. You probably got a shot at some stuff, maybe into parts of Alabama. Probably nothing like abnormal to what you're used to getting in during a tropo event, but it's still something that might be some new stations you can fill in with. I don't see a lot of this. Well, there you go. There's maybe that first little pop of Gulf stuff coming in Monday morning might give you a little bit to your west. Same thing Tuesday. You might be able to get on some of this action that actually might give you a path up into Alabama. So yeah, maybe Tuesday morning, 7 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Eastern, up to your northwest and to your west. I would say you have a shot at some stuff. That's probably your best shot is on this one here on Tuesday morning. Probably the best shot for you, Blazer Bob. Looking here in the chat, see. I believe QB still uses analog. I'm pretty sure they do, because I know we get some analog audio every once in a while in the channel 2 and channel 3 in the 50 megahertz band every once in a while during E-skip season. When the power is on in Cuba, I think it's analog. All right. Need to make some of that Gulf tropo heading its way northward. Yeah, I would agree. Well, you need a strong push, something to push that air, that cooler sea breeze air, which normally the Gulf is a bathtub. So normally when you think of Gulf, you think of warm air, and that's what gives you some of those really nasty storms, right? Cold air from the Rockies. Cold air from the Rockies sweeps in, meets that warm air from the Gulf, and then severe storms. So that's probably part of what you're going to actually be seeing this week. It's going to set up some of those storms you guys are going to see up that way. So, all right, that's going to do it for us for tonight. Episode 28 in the books. Episode 29 next week, season finale with 2 special guests will be joining us. We'll be announcing that here a bit later on, who those will be. So you're definitely going to want to join in for that. We're going to release our sporadic E-data analysis. we are going to talk about the Summer of DX Challenge, and who knows what's going to happen between now and then on Tropo and Sporadic-y and everything else. We're going to wrap up our Season 4, the Medium Wave Frequency Challenge. And my challenge to all of you is also, when you do your shout-outs, let's hear the big stuff that you had this season. We do this every year. We look back on the whole season that we've just completed here. So from September to May, talk about FM, AM, TV, weather, NDBs. Give us the highlights of your season. Definitely anything you heard between now and next week. But also, just give us a season recap. Tell us what you got. What's the big stuff? So when you submit your challenges for this coming week, let's do the season in review, so to speak. Let's hear the highlights of how good of a season it was, or maybe not. Maybe it wasn't a great season. Take care, my friends. Best of DX to all of you. And we'll catch you next week for our season finale here of Season 5 of DX Central Live. And all of us here at DX Central, our sponsors, the Spectrum Monitor, thespectrummonitor.com, the National Radio Club, nationalradioclub.org, and the International Radio Club of America, ircaonline.org. From all of us, them to you, thank you so much. We'll see you guys next week.
Takes the stage.
This is DX Central Live. This is DX Central Live. This is DX Central Live.